Most traders don't fail prop firm challenges because of their strategy. They fail because they don't truly understand what the challenge is. Today's video isn't about entries, indicators, or a magic strategy. This is the survival guide which I wish I had when I first started trading prop firms. If you're serious about passing a funded challenge or staying a funded trader, then this is the video you needed months ago. So prop firms, they don't test your strategy, but they test you. Most new traders jump onto a prop firm and think the challenge is almost some sort of trading exam. But what they're actually testing is emotional control under pressure. Think about it. You could give 100 traders the exact same setup, but only a handful of them would execute it properly when they've got their daily down draw staring them in the face. And prop firms know this. These challenges are built to expose your weaknesses. Your impatience, your FOMO, your ego, revenge trading, and desperation to pass quickly to try and get a load of money quickly. And the truth is, most traders don't crack because the challenge is hard. They crack because the rules force them to meet their true selves. So the first rule of survival is learning how to trade as the version of yourself which doesn't panic. So every trader has an emotional limit, that exact moment where your discipline just disappears. For some people, it's a second trade of the day. For some people, it's after their first loss. For many, it's when the challenge is nearly complete. Your emotional threshold is where your logic shuts down and your emotion just takes over. And here's the harsh truth. You don't blow your account once you meet your emotional threshold, but you blow it because you keep trading after you've met your emotional threshold. So you need to know the exact moment when you know emotions are taking over. Because if you don't stop trading, you become so dangerous to your account. And the biggest sign when you're about to cross into this emotional threshold is when your next trade suddenly feels urgent and you have an urgency to place one. But urgency is your worst enemy in trading. Because urgency makes you up risk. It makes you force trades. You start chasing entries, you start widening your stops, and you just try to take one more trade because you're almost at your target. But urgency has never taken a trader to success. It only ever takes a trader to their down draw limits, because you'll always end up losing if you feel like you have to make money that day. Because passing a challenge isn't about aggression, it's about sitting through days where you feel desperate to trade, but you choose not to. That discipline alone puts you ahead of 90% of all the other traders. But even if you can manage your urgency, there's another silent killer that shows up the second you start winning. And nobody really talks about this. Once you start winning, once you're close to passing and becoming funded, that's when the real pressure kicks in. You're no longer trading for a challenge. Now you're trading for real results, for payouts, for proof, for validation. And this is where many traders fail. Not during a challenge, but right after they've passed one, or when they're so close to actually passing the challenge, when they're one trade away. Because that makes every loss feel so much heavier, makes small mistakes feel final and a lot bigger than they actually are, and every position feels like it matters way too much. And that's the thing, the markets didn't change, but it was your mindset. Your mindset and your emotions have completely switched. And this survival guide exists because the rules you follow to pass aren't the same rules that you follow to stay funded. So let's talk about the mindset shift that actually keeps you alive. And that's neutrality. Neutrality means you stop assigning emotional meaning to winning trades, losing trades, passing challenges, hitting targets, and failing accounts. The trade is just a trade. The result that you're getting after the trade is your data. Neutrality makes you steady. It prevents overconfidence after a win and panic after a loss. And it gives you consistency because your emotional state no longer changes with every single candle. And here's something I learned pretty early on. The more you care about being right, the more the market is going to punish you. The less you care about the outcome, the more cleaner your trades. And neutrality is a survival skill. It's not just a personality trait. But neutrality is impossible if your risk is way too high. So let's talk about that. Most traders think they're risking around 1%, but emotionally, they're risking everything. Because if this trade ruins your day, ruins your mood, or ruins your confidence, then your risk is super high. Prop firm survival requires risk that sounds boring. So it doesn't hurt you emotionally, so you'll be able to think clearly. You won't force trades to try and make it back, and you won't spiral into revenge trading. So if your trades have a small emotional impact, then your chance of survival in these firms goes up dramatically. It's that simple. And just another tip as well. Most traders risk around 1% on these 100k prop firm challenges. The majority of the prop firms have a 10% max drawdown rule. So you might think that you're trading 1% or you're risking 1%, but you're not. You're risking 10%. Because you're actually trading with 10k, not 100. So just bear that in mind when doing your risk, because you may think 1% is tiny, but you're actually doing 10% per trade at what you think is 1%. So if you feel like these 1% trades are a bit too emotional for you, scale it down even lower. Scale it down to 0.5%, because in theory, that's still 5% of what you're allowed to lose. And once you've done this and your risk is finally under control, there's one final rule that separates funded traders to the ones who blow up. And this rule has saved way more accounts than any strategy, any indicator, or any trading system. And that's stop trading the moment you stop becoming objective. And you know exactly when that moment is, because you feel it. You hesitate, you chase, you force a trade, you hope instead of plan. And you start calculating how much room you have left. The second you start thinking emotionally instead of logically, your day is done. Not forever, not for the week, but just for the day. Just walk away, you're done. Every trader can win once, every trader can lose once, but disciplined traders know when to walk away. So let me leave you with this. Prop firms aren't designed to stop good traders from succeeding. They're designed to expose the emotional weaknesses you have while trading with live funds. If you can't control your urgency, your pressure, your ego, your impatience, and risk perception, then you won't be able to pass challenges and stay funded. If you can control them, then that's where you're going to start seeing the payouts and multiple past funded accounts. Most traders think the challenge is hard, but the real challenge is becoming the person who doesn't break their rules, the prop firm rules, and your own rules when the pressure hits. The trader who wins long term, the trader who gets payouts, that's the trader you're trying to build yourself into. And if you feel like you are really struggling with your emotions and your psychology while trading, I've just started a group called The Trader's Mind. It's a group on Telegram where every day we go through your emotions, the current markets, so we know what emotional triggers could potentially happen on that day. So I'll give tips before London session, New York session, and at the end of the day to wrap it all up. I've also got my DMs open in that group, so if you need any help and you don't want to put it in the group, you can message me directly and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. So if you want to join that group, the link is in the description. I've also put the link to XNES and FTMO, who are the brokers that I use. So if you want to jump on those, the link is in the description. And if you enjoyed the video, please feel free to like and subscribe and put anything down in the comments which I didn't cover, or you have a question, or something which I can improve on. And again, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow in the next video.